Good morning, it's Dave at All Things Important Reviews. Please smash that like button. Please smash the subscribe button for more awesome watch content. This is the San Martin SN017G-A. This is obviously the two-tone version. I previously had on my channel the blue tone, the blue monotone, but this is obviously the black and gold two-tone, which in my opinion has far more pizzazz than the simply the blue one. I wish I'd have got the blue and gold when I bought the blue, but it was quite a bit more expensive at the time. That's why I didn't do it. Let's just go over the basic specs. 40.5mm nominal, NH35A movement, ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, cyclops, fully gold solid, fully bimetal two-tone bracelet, solid end links, solid links, screw links, with a heavy-duty clasp. Beautiful mechanism. 6 micro adjusts, and it's got 200 meters of water resist nominal. Let's just start off. The sizing, I've measured it prior to this video. The sizing is just the same as the previous model that I had. It's about 12.7mm thick to 12.8mm thick, with about a 47.7mm lug to lug, which is probably ideal actually. It does feel pretty awesome on the wrist. And one good thing about this model I've noticed, yes, the case edge is sharp, like that corner is too sharp, but it's not as bad as on the previous model that I had for this watch. The sizing is outstanding. As I wear bigger and bigger watches, these 40mm seem a little bit small, a little bit. I would probably prefer this now as a 41.5 or 42mm, but most people will probably disagree, and most people would probably prefer it to be 40.5. It'll be interesting when I pick up the 41mm to see how it goes. Okay, the crystal is sapphire, and it is only, a fraction of a millimeter, if that, above proud of the bezel. It has a really nice flat presence on the wrist. The dial is beautiful. They've actually golded the reho, so the outer vertical ring, they've put gold, unlike Rolex. They have put the PVD on it. Maybe that is too much. I think it's okay. I'm not too bothered. It has a nice simple dial with a Mercedes handset, with automatic 200 meter on it. Pretty plain with the San Martin's logo, which is a bit polarizing. I don't mind it. I like having a logo as opposed to too much writing. The crown does have a logo as well, as does the clasp. Oh, yeah, it does. It does. It has it on here. Yeah, it does. San Martin, yeah. So, I think the dial is excellent. It's, we all know what it's homaged from. It's homaged from the Rolex Submariner, but it's somewhat unique enough with the dial, with the differences that they have put on the dial, to make it a little bit not just a straight copy. The bezel is nice and tight. There's basically, there's hardly any back play whatsoever. A little tiny bit of back play. It is really nice and tight if you're going to time your dives. Not that many people who watch this channel actually go diving, like me. Yeah, and it's got the ceramic material. I'm a big fan of ceramic, as I've mentioned many times before. Without ceramic, these bezels just scratch. My my Bulova Marine Star, which I've been wearing a lot recently, that's just an aluminium bezel. I've scratched it, unfortunately. The crown, obviously it's a screw down crown. Very nice. Very nice mechanism. No qualms there at all, really. It does have the fat case. This is not the homage to the 41mm model. It does have the fatter lugs. I like that. I probably prefer that. It gives it a nice flat presence on the wrist, but some people would prefer these lugs to be a bit more tapered. Case back, super plain. Not even going to mention too much about that because it is just a totally boring case back. I prefer an exhibition window, as I've mentioned many times before, but they just keep it true to form and they just keep it super plain, which I don't like it, but it's just obviously a stainless steel backplate. Now let's go to the meat and potato of it, the bracelet. The bracelet is excellent. I mean, for the price, you're not going to get one. For what I paid for this watch, which was closer to 150 GBP, you're not going to get a bracelet like this off any other company, basically. My only criticism of this, there's two criticisms really. One is the thickness of the links, which I think is a little bit overkill. I think that for maximum comfort, they should drop it 0.5 mil to basically, or possibly even more than that, possibly like 0.8 mil or a millimeter, or maybe 0.5 mil, because they're more like 3-point-something mil thick, these links. Okay, and if I can, I'll actually just measure it dead quick. Yeah, 3.4 mil. Now I'm going to say that is too much. Yeah, 3.4 mil is pretty overkill. They should be more like 2.8, 2.5. But ultimately, they give a fantastic feel of solidness to the bracelet. It does feel absolutely solid. They've done a really good job with the coating. The PVD is polished, which is what I like, and it comes down to this clasp. The clasp is one of the best clasps I've ever used. Big heavy duty swing arms, 6 micro adjust. There's no diver's extension if you're bothered about that, but with the safety catch, with the way they've done the little sign, I've kept, by the way, they're not scratches, that's just because the plastic's still on. I just leave the plastic on as long as I can to keep the steel in pristine condition. So they're not scratches then, don't worry about that. You know, the PVD, that's pretty standard how it doesn't go in between the links. That is on pretty much every manufacturer I've seen, but they have polished it, which is good. I'm glad they've polished it. I prefer, if you're going to go down the two-tone route, you've got to do it right and you've got to polish it. You know, so ultimately, it's a beautiful, beautiful watch. I think you're going to be tough to find. You're going to be tough to find one that is as well made. I think this is better made than the Chronos. I think the bracelet is better made in terms of the materials, and the tolerances are superior. My only criticisms would be the thickness of the links, as I mentioned, and the lack of polish on the outer edge of the links. I think the outer edge should be polished, personally. And they need to tone down the sharpness of this edge. That edge isn't too bad now. It's this corner. The corner's too sharp, but you could buff that yourself. You could take off that yourself if you wanted. And if it was too, I mean, I'll just show you on the wrist as well. absolutely beautiful. It has total pizzazz. Absolutely beautiful. There is an affiliate link down below if you wanted to pick it up. I make a tiny commission at no extra cost to you. Direct from AliExpress, from their official store. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful watch. Let's just... As I said, as I've moved to more bigger watches now, I probably would prefer it in like 42 or 41. So I'm going to pick up the 41mm, but unfortunately they don't do the two-tone. I think the two-tone is better. It's got more variety. It looks more dressier. It looks better, I would say. With the... It's more versatile, but my actual favourite is the blue and gold two-tone. The blue and gold two-tone is my favourite than this one. But I got the black and gold because someone said they wants to see it, and I just thought I'll just show it you. But the blue and gold is even better in my opinion. It just, the combination of silver, blue and gold goes perfectly together. So yeah, so thanks for checking this video out. Let's get to 1,000 subs. Loads of reviews coming up, loads of AliExpress watches coming across. I've got some really interesting ones. Nice one. It's been Dave. Oh, final. The movement is your standard NH35A, little workhorse. That's the standard thing that people say about it, but they're not super accurate, but they get the job done. It's a solid movement. You can get it with, well, Chronos do, obviously, I think the Solita and the PT5000, but for me, they're not worth that much more than the NH35. If you're only going to wear it at the weekends and you're going to lose the time, you know, in the week, are you really bothered if it's slightly more accurate? Not me personally, on these automatics, as I've mentioned loads of times. So I would just say stick with the NH35. If you get the option of buying it cheaper than buying one with like the Chronos with thingy. Against the Chronos, this is better made, but the Chronos for some people would be more comfier because the links are thinner and it has the gliding style lock, quick adjust lock, where this doesn't on the Clasp. This one is thicker, bulkier, but the head of the watch has a smaller lug to lug, and in my opinion the head of the watch feels better on the wrist. So it's a complicated one, and the more I wear them, I probably prefer the San Martin now because I like the feel of the solidness on the wrist. So yeah, so nice one for checking this video out. It's been Dave. Have a great weekend.